All right, let's just get right into it. We're talking about Clash Royale. It's one of the biggest mobile games on the planet, played by millions. But if you look just beneath the surface of those fun, colorful battles, there is this deep, powerful, and honestly often white-hot current of frustration. And it almost always seems to lead back to one single character, the Mega Knight. And you really, really don't have to look far to find people who feel this way. It's just this constant drumbeat you see on Reddit, on Twitter, everywhere. A real sense of collective exhaustion.
And, it's a feeling that cuts across the entire skill spectrum. This isn't just some new players who are struggling to figure things out. No, we're talking seasoned vets who are just as fed up. And it all just boils over into this, raw, visceral anger. I mean, just listen to that. These are real players talking about one character in a mobile game.
A level of emotion like this. It's not just about winning or losing a match. It's gotta be deeper than that. So to understand why this one guy in big armor causes so much absolute chaos, we have to pull back the layers on the player experience itself. So to really get to the bottom of this whole thing, we're gonna break it down. We're gonna look at this whole conflict through three kind of core ideas, three human elements that are really at the heart of this entire clash.
First up, identity. This is all about who you are as a player and how the game makes you feel about the choices you make and about your skill.
Next, we've got repetition. This digs into that psychological burnout, that exhaustion you feel from facing the same thing over and over and over again. And finally, power. Here, we're going to look at the game's economy and really explore how that whole pay-to-win perception just adds fuel to the fire. Okay, let's kick things off with identity. In a game like Clash Royale, your deck of 8 cards, it's not just a tool, right? It's basically an extension of you. It's your strategy, your personality, your identity when you step into that arena. But there is a very specific part of the game where these identities don't just meet, they collide violently. The community has a name for this place. They call it mid-ladder. Now, this isn't some official term you're going to find in a tutorial, but you ask any player and they will know exactly what you mean. It's this chaotic, messy proving ground where certain strategies and certain cards completely dominate. And this is where the identity crisis really begins. And this slide, it just lays out the cultural divide in the game perfectly. On the left, you've got what they call the mid-ladder menace. These are decks built around big, chunky defensive cards like Mega Knight. The community perception? Easy mode, low skill. Then, on the right, you have what the pros run. Something like the famous 2.6 Hog Cycle deck, which is all about lightning-fast plays and precision. And the community sees that as the high-skill, respectable way to play. So right off the bat, the cards you choose are making a statement about the kind of player you are. This quote from a high-level player it sums it all up, doesn't it? Using a card like Mega Knight isn't just a strategic decision anymore. For a lot of people, it comes with this social stigma. It's a judgment on your skill, on your creativity. The card has literally become a symbol for a playstyle that a huge part of the community absolutely despises. And this whole identity crisis feeds directly into our next big point, repetition. I want you to imagine playing chess, but in 8 out of every 10 games you play, your opponent makes the exact same opening moves. That's the feeling players are talking about in mid-ladder. The numbers people report online are just staggering. You see players claiming they face Mega Knight in the vast majority of their matches. What that does is create this deep sense of stagnation, a feeling that no matter what cool creative deck you come up with, you're just gonna slam into the same brick wall time and time again. It just sucks the creativity right out of the game. Now, to really understand this feeling of burnout, we're gonna take a bit of a weird turn. It's going to sound strange, but the answer might actually be hidden in Arabic music theory. Just stay with me here. So in traditional Arabic music, there's this concept called a maqam. You can think of it like a musical scale, but it's more than that. It's a whole set of notes that's designed to create a very specific mood or a feeling. Okay, so let's just map this out. The maqam, right, that overall musical mood, that's like the game's meta, the dominant strategy that everyone's using. And both of them are built from smaller pieces. In music, it's note sets. In Clash Royale, it's card synergies. But the most important part here is this idea of modulation. In music, that's the beautiful, interesting shift from one mood to another that keeps a song from getting stale. In Clash Royale, that's what a balance change is supposed to do, shake up the meta. But here is the punchline. This author, when they were first learning about this type of music, found that constant, jarring modulation, that shifting between moods, to be physically unsettling. It literally made them feel sick. What Clash Royale players are feeling is the exact opposite problem. It's a total lack of modulation. It's the same macam, the same mid-ladder meta, played on an endless loop until it becomes its own kind of sickness. Total and complete burnout.
And that brings us to our final piece of the puzzle: power. Now, in Clash Royale, power is supposed to be measured in elixir. That's the resource you spend to play your cards. But there's another, much more controversial source of power at play here. And this quote, man, it just cuts right to the heart of it. So many players feel like the game has tilted, that it's become this race where you either have to have the skills of a top-tier pro, or you have to spend real money to level up your cards just to have a chance. This is the absolute core of the whole pay-to-win debate. So here's the really crucial part. The problem isn't always just the Mega Knight card itself. It's facing an over-leveled Mega Knight. It's that moment when you have a matchup that skill-wise you know you should win, but it becomes completely impossible simply because your opponent's card has way better stats. It just feels fundamentally unfair, like the rules were broken before the match even began. And this feeling was just cranked up to 11 with the recent introduction of card evolutions. This feature gave certain cards, including the already scary Mega Knight, an even more powerful version. It's a textbook case of what gamers call power creep, where every new update raises the power ceiling, making you feel like you have to either grind for months or just open your wallet to keep up.
So, when you take a crisis of identity and you mix in the burnout from endless repetition, and then you top it all off with a power dynamic that feels totally unbalanced, well, you get the perfect storm that we're seeing today, and it puts the game at a really critical point in its life.
Clash Royale is coming up on its 10th anniversary. In the world of mobile games, that is an eternity. And this huge milestone is making a lot of people in the community step back and reflect. They're asking a really fundamental question. After all this time, has the game we love actually gotten better, or has it maybe lost its way?
Which leaves all of us with one last big thought to chew on. The story of the Mega Knight isn't really just about one annoying card. It's a story about the incredibly delicate dance between game design and our own psychology, that thin line between fun and frustration. And it makes you wonder, when a system creates this much predictable emotional friction, is the player really the one making choices, or is the game's design actually playing the player?